open. Here's our randomizer. Tainted Isaac to Mega Satan. I gotta say, for such a funky run, that's also very pure. That gives us a decent amount of time in order to get a reasonable amount of items. Tainted Isaac is a fun character to play as much of the time, especially with the HP trick. Let's do it. And I gotta tell you, first off, I got that middle-aged phlegm today. I apologize for it, but slept kind of like doo-doo last night. Feeling fine, by the way. Feeling totally okay. But it has an impact on the esophageal health sometimes. So I apologize if you hear me go hem, hem. It's not out of pleasure that I'm doing that. But I gotta tell you, I'm super excited. I mean, like, let's be honest. We're Tainted Isaac. We got some time before we really need to focus, probably. We can, like, this is just random, or this is just any character until we run up against the capacity limit. What a Charlize Theron dodge. I told you last week, we bought a cast iron skillet. It has finally arrived, and I mean, in my head, I am just percolating on what I'm gonna make with that cast iron skillet. It's the first time in my life I've cooked for a long time, you know? Over a decade at this point. Never had a cast iron skillet because, you know, you know, when I was in college, I was like, I don't want to buy a cast iron skillet because they can be very expensive. Although, after we bought this one, people were like, please don't pay for an expensive cast iron skillet. You can just go down to your hardware store and get one. I didn't realize that they're, that it's one of those things where if you buy, like, oh, God. If you buy a fancy one, you know, you're paying a lot, but a hardware store could just, you know, say, I don't know, maybe you're making, are you cooking on like a roof tile or something? I don't know. It's a bit scary in here, I'll admit. Bunch of big rooms. But I didn't know that until just, you know, like 4 or 5 days ago. But we did get a fancy, expensive one. I'm sorry to say, it's not a flex. If anything, it's a punishment. However, it came pre-seasoned. I'm very excited to try to make something with it. I don't know what I'm gonna make. Like, I made seared scallops last night, and I'm like, I should have done that tonight, man. I had the cast iron sitting there. If I had known that it was going to come the next day, I would have just gotten some pizza last night or something like that, and then made the scallops tonight. Of course, there's always a steak. I mean, I'm not going to belabor the point. There's many options. Let's just leave it at that. For now, there's many options. Oh, you know what? Hold on. Let me get I gotta get chat over here. I'm realizing this is an extra, like, 2 seconds to every glance. You gotta be careful about that. Yeah, I know you don't wash it in the dishwasher. It is inconvenient, but, you know, if you're paying for, like, you know, cuts of meat that are pretty decent, I think it's worth taking the extra, like, you know, 30 seconds to make sure you're cooking it in the right, I was gonna say vestibule. Apparently you can wash it with soap and water, too. I was under the impression you just got, like, warm water and a rag. But I guess you can wash it with soap and water. It says in the incredibly large instruction manual for how to use the pan, which I poured over this morning to make sure I was ready to go. Light soap. Okay. You don't need soap most of the time. All right, you know, it's good to know. I'm looking forward to experimenting with it myself. So just go, like, after the stream tonight, maybe I'll go spend, like, an irresponsible amount of money on beef, and then, if it's not the best steak I've ever had in my entire life, I will become my money back. By the way, I gotta say, I'm very thankful we're alive right now, just for the record. We go synth oil. I mean, like, it's tough. Synth oil's good enough to hold, though. To have and to hold, I would say. Yeah, take me down. I was gonna say, like, picking up the cast iron pan, I was like, I finally understood why, like, in movies, if someone, like, breaks into your house, you pick up a frying pan. Like, the pans that I've had before in my life, they're not, like, you know, super light or anything like that, but I was like, that would leave a nice little lump on the top of your head, but I don't, what was it, a D1? Blood bombs is very interesting, and it does heal us, but the D1 is, I'm a believer there, believe it or not. I know that there's an HP up, but I'm a believer in that D1. Anyway, I think that, like, the pans that I had before would, like, they would hurt you, don't get me wrong, if they hit you on the head really hard. You'd be dazed for a bit. The cast iron, I think, would kill you dead. Like, I think, honestly, I think if it fell on your head from a height of 6 inches, you would possibly have to go to the hospital. It's extraordinarily heavy. Dunk, dunk. Test and see if it makes the sound. Okay, well, if it hits me on the head and it goes dunk, then I gotta go like this, right? I gotta go. And start walking around like with my limbs all shaking and stuff like that. I don't D1 that. Come on, that's a slap in the face. You gotta admit, like, if cartoons were real, Wile E. Coyote would be fucking dead. Like, to the extreme. I mean, like, not only does he fall off cliffs constantly, but, like, I don't think it takes that much to, like, for a human being to die. Like, you hear about it all the time. You know, sometimes it's like, oh, they fell out of a plane, but they were still strapped to their seat and they lived. And you're like, whoa, that's incredible. Human beings are amazing. And then sometimes you're like, how did they die? And they're like, oh, they slipped on the ice and just hit their head funny. We're like, we're all Achilles in our own way, you know? We got many Achilles heels. This part right here, you got 2 of these on your head. I don't understand, like, trust me, I'm a firm believer in evolution. It's one of the only things I gleaned from my 4-year degree in biology. But why, if evolution's real, explain to me why we have space here that basically just leads directly to your brain. What, you couldn't just evolve some more bone to go right here so that if I hit my head on the corner of a coffee table, I won't get, like, a brain bleed and pass away? Great move, great move. Nobody ever mutated that? Yeah, but it's been like, you know, hundreds of thousands of years of Homo sapien evolution. You don't think anybody was ever born with just like some bone there and then got it on, like, to a staggering frequency? That's right. You know what? Maybe that is where the Neuralink goes. I would very much like to have something worth using the D1 on. Okay, well, that's a floor. I'm trying to think. We have Battery Baby, which is pretty good. We got Hive Mind, which is interesting. But I don't know if we want to spend our only available money on those right now. Just remember, okay, you have Soul of Isaac, which means you don't pick up... Oh, frick. You don't pick up what shows up immediately. Everyone chill out, okay? If you don't chill out, I can't chill out. I need you to... Okay, look, we're fine, we're fine. Look at this, we're totally okay. Okay, now you pick up the HP, that's a gimme. I hate to say it, I don't think you get anything else. I guess, well, no, actually, we're looking pretty good. Maybe, okay, actually, you know what? We're gonna go to our curse room, and then maybe we'll find a way to use the D1. And now, like, look at that, we're fine. Battery, baby, I'm not totally sold on it. Like, I know we could get rid of it later if we so chose, but just work with me here. Like, we're not getting that 7 cents back. We have to do angel deals. As much as I would love to pick up some of this stuff, we have to do angel deals. But this means that we have a great chance of an angel deal on the next floor. In fact, we might actually, because we screwed up our devil deal, we might have a 100% chance of an angel deal. I will become back my money. Thank you. Yeah, don't we? I think we have a 100% chance of an angel deal on the next floor because we didn't. No, you're right. We'll have a 100% chance of a devil deal because yeah, okay. It's fair. Fair enough. Let's be sensible here. Try the card, okay? The card is the Emperor. I'll actually take this as... Whoa! Easy there, big fella. Okay. Now, hold on. Emperor plus D1 is actually some pretty good sauce. How did that bomb fit in the sack? I didn't, baby. You just told me. Did you see the tweet that was like, I can't get the idea out of my head of the monster from It Follows, but it's just Austin Powers doing the dance from inside of from the start of the movie? I don't know, if you haven't seen It Follows, I would recommend it for the record. But it's kind of like compulsory for you to understand the joke. It's basically that old like no sleep post about like, what if there was a monster that followed you at an incredibly slow pace but was relentless, like 24/7. It came after you very slowly, but it never announced its presence. So just when you thought you were safe, you'd look out the window and then you'd see a crushed blue velvet suit and you'd hear like liminal spaces, soul bossa nova. No! Oh man, that would be some good stuff. Great song. Dude, I love that Austin Powers is having a bit of a renaissance. Oh, dude, it's not even a throw. Like, cause look at this. It's all thanks to the collectible card game. Oh, D1 the Soul Heart. Boom! Going offline, guys. Whatever, we'll do it next time. Yeah, it's all thanks to Space Jam. Space Jam 2 brought back Austin Powers, baby. Then there was the post about that. What's the Macros? Are you here? What's that Australian theme park that it has like all the Warner Brothers, or not Warner Brothers? I forget which movie studio it is. Movie World, yeah, where like you go there and you see lookalikes from the films, and they have a guy who's just Austin Powers. And he does the dance every day. That's, oh, look at that. Have you seen the Burger King that's like Hollywood Burger King? And like all the booths have pictures of Hollywood actors in them, but like not from them going to the Burger King, just like them living their lives. Burger King. Movie World, and it is Warner Brothers. Oh, thank you, thank you. I mean, they could put C-Nanners in Movie World because Warner Brothers owned Machinima for a exceptionally brief, you know, blink of a hummingbird's wings. It's true. You can look it up. I live across the street from a Hollywood Burger King. It's, I mean, I got a lot of nostalgia because I think that oh, wow, great damage. The marketing teams, you know, for fast food companies really, I mean, they do their jobs well. I'm pretty sure that's how you get the big bucks, right? You know, you start at Doctors Without Borders, and then if you're really good at your job, you go work at, like, you know, Baja Fresh or whatever. But like a fast food place that has a little extra decor sauce attached to it, like it matters in the human brain, you know? Like the Pizza Hut green table, ribbed plastic pitcher full of Pepsi. That's one thing. Our home... Well, Malf, if you're here. One of our hometown Burger Kings. One of our hometown Burger... Oh, we'll just take Parasitoid Tears, even though Shoop the Whoop is really good. One of our hometown Burger Kings, the one in the downtown core, it has an upstairs. And I gotta tell you, it just, as a kid especially, it just hit different when you got to eat upstairs, like a double-decker Burger King. The chicken tenders just tasted better when you're up high in your ivory tower, straight up. I'll check the curse room. Yeah, it's like the GO train, or like if you could get to the double-decker like mega bus or something like that. Can you just get hit by a tear? Or is this like my life now? Okay, it's not my life. Chance to shoot slowing tears. Chance for me to give you a middle finger emoji. I remember, I can't remember what the restaurant is called, but, and Malf, maybe you could hook me up here, because I know, like, we probably lived a fairly similar existence, despite not knowing we existed. Well, not knowing that each other existed until we were in, yes, please, high school. But, we used to go on, like, little road trips on, like, the weekend. I don't know if it was Brockville or Havelock. It was something along the 401, okay? Belleville, maybe. And there was a restaurant. I mean, a diplopia to get a crap load of spirit hearts is just beautiful here. There was a restaurant, and it was like a kid-friendly restaurant. The only thing I can say is, okay, it had like a model train track that went around the walls and the ceiling, and then it had like a zip line, and once every, I don't know, 5 minutes, a freaky hillbilly puppet would go across the zip line and go like, woo! It was like my favorite place to eat as a child. We don't even have a charge, so why you tell me to D1? Can I get some madges in chat, please? How am I supposed to D1? Use your last bomb to blow up the donation machine? I don't think so. Yeah, take one of those, call me in the morning. Stop telling me to D1. Anyway, I don't know the name of that restaurant, and I also feel I have no idea what that place is. Okay, yeah, fair enough. I don't know, like, if I'm even describing it properly, but, there is a memory in my head of going to that restaurant and having, like, the greatest time of my life. I also remember, and I feel lucky for this, right? But I remember the best French fries I've ever had in my life. And I'm not suggesting that they're the best French fries that have ever existed. But just due to the circumstance, I think they're the best French fries I ever had in my life. Ghostbusters star and noted whack job, SNL alum Dan Aykroyd is from our hometown. He had a restaurant downtown in our hometown that was called, it was something weird. It was like the Magical Mystery Palace or something like that, which is not a great name, but anyway. It was like, it wasn't quite a themed restaurant, but it was like a Dan Aykroyd themed pub, kind of. And I remember I was like 9, and my parents finished their like corporate baseball game, which I had to go to because otherwise we'd need to get a babysitter, right? And because it was like the last game of the season, they were like, oh, we're all gonna go out to the Dan Aykroyd restaurant. And I was like, whoa, this is like my first taste of adult life, right? Because like, it was a pub and I was gonna be in it at like 8 p.m. or something like that. And they got some fries to start, and I swear they're the sweetest fries I've ever tasted in my entire life. Something about those, they weren't even illicit fries, but it was just like, you know, just something about it just hit different, man. Oh, I didn't take the Emperor card, did I? Eh, whatever. It's a lot of maintenance. I've been riding that high ever since. I guess, apparently he's not from our hometown, but he's associated with it for some reason. I don't, like, he's got a lot of connection to Kingston, Ontario. Were you super hungry? I don't know, it was a long time ago. I just remember they had, like, some zesty seasoning on them, and I was like, oh, man. This is like, I didn't know they could make zest like this. Yeah, people have stories. And again, it's one of those things, it's like the same in the Edward Forty Hands story. I don't know, it probably has happened, okay? But like, you never know how many of these stories are different stories and how many of them are just the same story, like overshared and big crushed again and again and again and again and again and again. But I've heard stories of like Dan Aykroyd trying to pick up college girls at Stages, which is like the sketchy, like shitty nightclub in our hometown. But again, I've never seen it. I've just heard stories from a friend of mine. Oh, they were at Stages last night and Dan Aykroyd was totally there. Source, dude, just trust me. You never know, right? As a famous person myself, and people are constantly like, oh, like you're doing right now? I saw NL at the grocery store yesterday. No, you fucking didn't, you fucking liar. Get sued. I'm glad, by the way, that the baby from the Nevermind album cover, he's finally taken down those noted criminals Nirvana. It's about time. I was wondering why he's biding his sweet time. That's a joke, obviously. I mean, he is really suing them, but... one Mississippi, two Mississippi, one Mississippi. Let's go! Oh, that is right. I did it! You just look through the code, man. You just look through the code. It is funny that, look, I'm not a legal expert, especially on babies on album covers. It's a very narrow subset of the law. But I do think is gonna hurt his case that he's done many replication photo shoots of the exact same type of image over the course of his career. And then also has the tattoo, or has the name of the album tattooed across his chest that he's supposedly suing them for. But again, I'm no legal expert, but I have to imagine that it's the kind of stuff that would hurt your case. I'm not an expert in law. In 2016, he said in an interview, it's been nothing but a positive thing for me. As your lawyer, I would advise you to shut the fuck up. This is the kind of stuff that can only harm you in a court of law. I thought you lived with Malf? No, honestly, I say this, and I'm being completely sincere. We probably would not be friends if we had lived together, and it's because I would not live up to Malf's standards of a roommate, for sure. We're better off as like, maybe, you know, now we could, I mean, obviously, like, the situation's different. My wife would probably have a problem with it, but now I think, like, I'm neat, I'm relatively tidy. I don't live like a piece of garbage, but Malf's always been, like, pretty neat and ordered. It took me a little longer to grow into that. I think if we had lived together in our 20s, it might have Like, you know how like, me and Malf get to bond over the stories about our mutual friend, who was kind of a dirtbag when he lived with Malf. You know, the guy who downloaded up to the data cap in 4K Mr. Show VODs and stuff like that, and, you know, just made a bunch of hamburger mix, essentially, in the fridge, and then every day for months he would just pull out, like, 2 handfuls of it and cook it in his George Foreman grill. Like... Just let me look here. King Baby's okay, but I don't think it's worth it. I would have been close to that, I think. Not, like, the stories would be about... Well, you know what? Instead, me and our mutual friend, Malf, we would be telling stories about you. Oh, he's such a dickhead. God, it was so annoying to live with him. He was always, like, making us pay our fair share for stuff. And making fun of my mold burgers. What a dickhead. Halitosis is not that good. I don't mind dumping it, but Teratoma or Tiny Toma is also not that good. it's all not so good, but Borgir. Tiny Tomo. Bro, I got so mad at Ruka last night. Like 5 in the morning, he goes in, uses the litter box closest to our bedroom. You know, it's hard to tell how it's going at night because, like, you're so, like, you know, Sandman pilled that you can't even, like, you know, the sense of time is crazy, right? It's all distorted. We were in there, right? Let me look for a second. Yeah, okay. Honestly, hold on. I mean, Fate's Reward is not that good. We can do this trade, I think. And then trade back. And then take me down. But, no, we don't keep all 3 of them in the baby's room. No, not because the baby does her job. She cleans the litter box right now. But either way, he was using the litter box. And, you know, it feels like he was in there just covering his, you know, refuse for, like, ooh, Borgir? It felt like he was in there covering his refuse for, like, 20 minutes. Just... just over and over. So finally, I got pissed, right? I got out of bed and I started to walk towards the litter box. He heard me. He got out of the litter box immediately. He's like, oh, I'm done. And then he walked into our bedroom and just went like, he just shook, you know how cats shake, and shook off like a bunch of cat litter onto our floor. Really appreciate it. And I was like, okay, whatever. Like, I'll handle that later. I just want to go back to bed. Then he walked out to, like, we have some plastic sheeting that we've used to cover up the, like, metal railings and banisters so that the baby doesn't, like, stick her head through or something like that, right? And he just went over to the plastic. It's, like, a hard plastic. And he just started beating on it. So it was going like, wub, 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 like, right next to the baby's room at 5 in the morning. And I... like, almost, I entered, like, what I would call a silent jog, so that he knew I wasn't messing around. And then he was like, oh, my bad. Like, he stopped and, like, looked at me, and then tried to rub himself up against my legs, and then I was so mad, I moved my legs out of the way. I was like, nah, man. Not, you don't get any affection off of that. It's 5 in the morning. You woke me up. That's not good, but I can handle it. And then you woke up. You run the risk of waking up my baby, which then is gonna wake up my wife, and this thing's gonna be a domino effect. It's gonna be disastrous. Apology not accepted. I don't know. I'm kind of liking Fishtail right here, honestly. This all stinks, but, like, I think we can get 5 bombs out of it at least. Sure, thank you so much for your help. He knows what he did. He's very clever. Unfortunately. Red stew! So, here's a little trick for you. As Tainted Isaac, you pick up red stew, put that shit right back down, you're good to go. Look at that. We get to keep the damage bonus. at least as long as possible. What's the objective on this run? The objective on this run is to beat Mega Satan. We got 1 key piece. I think we've got a pretty good assortment of items right here. The first one to dump is probably Tiny Toma. I guess we take the negative because it doesn't really matter. Yeah, we kind of need an Eddy room. Yeah, so we'll dump Tiny Toma. We're looking for an Eddy room. There's no guarantee that we'll get that second key piece, unfortunately. Oh, what the frick? Infinite keys? Is this allowed? Are you seeing it? Is this allowed? That tweet about the tailor was so funny. People thought I was putting some sauce on it. I swear to you, like I was not. The tailor, it was one of the funnier things that's happened to me. The tailor said, I need you to go up a size in pants because I can always take the legs in, but I can't do anything about that. And then he pointed to my dump truck. And then he said, do you blow out the crotches on your jeans all the time? And I said, yes. This is how, by the way, people were like, they thought that I was offended. No, you gotta remember, I'm keeping it old school. Take it easy. I was flattered and vindicated that I had gone to an incredible tailor. I was like, oh, do it. Just don't fuck this one up. I was like, this guy he's in the right line of work. That just from taking like one look at me, he's like, hey, do you ruin your jeans constantly? And I was like, I didn't know you were a gastroenterologist. I wouldn't describe myself as flattered. It was more like I felt like a ship that had been, the blueprint was properly drawn. I was like, this guy, you know, he's one hell of a coxswain. I don't know what that is. I know it's related to the Navy, right? Validated, vindicated. Long have we waited? Isn't that a rower, a coxswain? If in rowing, how do you become? Let's go! Oh, fuck you! But let's go. In rowing, how do you become? 1 second. I don't know what to dump, man. This is like the greatest day of my life. In rowing, how do you become the guy? See ya, Binky. I can live with that. In rowing, how do you become the guy who just yells? Like into the megaphone? You gotta be small? What if we got a bigger boat? I saw, and you gotta be careful about looking at scientific studies, by the way. Because, like, I mean, you got to be careful looking at the media's interpretation of scientific studies. There was that, you know, widely reported, according to statistics, eating a hot dog takes like 35 minutes off your life or something like that. And then you realize that what it actually is like a self-reported survey of like the frequency you eat hot dogs versus like, you know, your expected lifespan. And as a result, you just divide the lifespan by the number of hot dogs for 2 different demographics and go like, look, it's the hot dogs, man. It couldn't be that people who eat the highest, you know, if you're in the highest decile of hot dog eaters, you're also probably statistically more likely to smoke like 15 packs of cigarettes a day and, you know, maybe have a lower socioeconomic standing, which is also negatively associated with, you know, lifespan. Instead, like, there's a lot of other comorbidities, I guess. It must be the hot dogs. There's no other possible explanation. But anyway, I did see a study, and because it made me feel good, I am not inclined to question its validity. It said people who are a little bit overweight tend to live longer than people who are average weight. One of the most inspiring news headlines I've ever seen in my entire life. According to this, and I didn't look into the scientific study at all, because again, it validated my existing biases. But it said, according to BMI, like just based on BMI, people who are in the overweight category, but not obese, tend to live longer than people who are in the, like, whatever is lower, just below overweight. I don't think it's average. I think it's like, you know, normal or something. And I was like, hell yeah. More potatoes for me. That's because BMI is BS? Yeah, but have I told you yet that it validated my existing biases? Well, not even really my existing biases. In fact, it was kind of surprising. But it did make me feel like I couldn't be killed. And this anecdotes you got to be careful with, obviously, right? Like three of my grandparents are still alive, and my one grandfather who has or is dead. I was gonna say has died, but that makes it seem like it happened, like, you know, this morning. But it was like lifestyle choices for the most part. You know, he had like a heart attack in his 50s, never moderated his lifestyle after that, and had like 2 more heart attacks, and then I think it was like the 4th one killed him. So I'm not like trying to say like, wow, what an idiot. If you're looking down, Grandpa, I wouldn't say I admire it, but I would say you went out on your own terms at least. You know, you decided, this isn't worth it. I'm sticking with this, man. But like my other grandfather is still alive. And he's in his mid-80s. The dumpy, dude. He's in his mid-80s. And he was overweight like my whole life. Which is just kind of crazy for me. I'm not trying to insult the guy, by the way. I'm just saying, I mean, he is my family. I'm like, if anything, as a child, I was like, you gotta get your weight under control. Otherwise, you know, you're not gonna live to see, like, my high school graduation. In reality, he's just killing it. Should have gotten that spear at heart. This should still be fine. It should still be fine. Copium. Well, yeah, he's not killing it. He's living it. I think I got good stock. I guess is what I'm trying to say. I'm hopeful, at least. But I am doing that thing where I'm like, I saw on Facebook that this, and this are true, and as a result of that, I am now going to... Like, I saw a post, I mean, it's just like, tell me you don't understand science without understanding science. It was like the oldest World War II veteran died at like 114 years old after, or maybe, I don't know if it was World War I, but it was after a lifetime of smoking cigarettes, drinking whiskey, and like eating steaks. The guy who popularized jogging as a form of good health died of a heart attack in his 50s. So I know what I'm doing. And I'm like, bro, that's 2 people. You can't look at that and be like, that's a causal relationship. Have you ever considered that, like, maybe the war veteran stayed alive for like an extra 20 years over like what fate had planned for him just out of spite because he lost his childhood in Europe? Like, you know, it's like when you work a double shift or something like that, then when you get home, you're like, I gotta pull an all-nighter so I can have some leisure time. Like, he's making up for lost time. I'm so thankful I held the soul here. No fear. Some fear, some fear. Hey, spiders! You ever gonna, do something? Or nah? Just curious. Hello, Peter. What if Lois is in Enter the Spider-Verse? Ooh, suck on that, doubters. Did you see the photo on Twitter that was like, I'm coming for that ass, Peter? And it was the picture from Spider-Man 1 where the Green Goblin's on his glider and he's shooting the guns as Spider-Man. Spider-Man's running away with his back towards the camera, and then they'd use the liquefy tool to make it look that both Spider-Man and the Green Goblin had an absolutely enormous da-dunk-a-dunk. Anyway, pay out the believers on this one. That was a good run. I did, dude. I saw that they edited the photo so that it had Germa with the dumpy as well, and I was like, that's good stuff, man. /marker casino 1.